Hello, hello, my emotional wisdom community. Going live here. This live is going to be about the law of attraction, okay? As I like to call it, the law of mirroring. If you believe in the law of manifestation, the law of mirroring, the law of attraction, watch this. I'm going to give you interesting perspective. Be open-minded. I like telling everyone that checks me out to be open-minded, don't be too quick to discard, information just because it's not in alignment with your thought process, right? I feel like many of us out there resonate more or are more familiar with the term of the law of attraction or manifestation, manifesting, the ability to manifest your desires. Okay, so that's going to be the subject. And I'm going to provide perspective. I want you all that follow this or are intrigued by these concepts, these laws, to be open-minded to what I'm about to share. It seems like we only have partial of the story when it comes to the law of attraction or the how manifestation works. I'm going to provide another angle to this. I feel like no one will ever know the absolute, right? There's no absolute. It's all about perspective. But when you gather enough evidence and notice the math when it comes to attracting things in your reality, or when you have already attracted whatever the reality you're in, you are doing something to become a vibrational match to that very thing you have attracted. Okay? Even if it's something shitty, excuse my French, even if it's something shitty that you did not approve of, yet you attracted it into your reality. If you attracted it into your reality, it's very telling. We cannot disregard the fact that we attracted things that made us feel uncomfortable, emotional distress, pain, any negative that you don't deem worthy enough, or you don't deem good, or you don't deem safe, or you don't deem positive. Whatever you're encountering every hour on the hour, at any given moment, whatever that's coming into your awareness, right? You're seeing it in your external reality. There's a lot to be understood there. Or rather said, there's a lot of information that if you see the opportunity, you can really understand by viewing what you're attracting externally, what's happening internally. I'm going to repeat that. Being able to observe and feel into and use your whole senses, your emotional or felt perception, to feel into what's happening in your external reality, it is very telling as to what is happening internally. It is very telling. If you have the right tools or the guidance or the ability to start unpacking what you're viewing, what you're experiencing, what you're feeling in correlation to what's happening in your external reality, you will be able to understand more so yourself, where you need to look into, where you need to heal, integrate, as I like to call it. What part of you needs you? Yes. By looking what's happening out there and what you're attracting into your reality, into your awareness, into your space, vicinity, you will know what you need, essentially. You will conclude what you're missing, what you're needing from you, first and foremost. Shift the perspective, and then become a match of more of what the relationship you're under within your whole system, within your ecosystem. Okay? We only like to see, and we're only taught by the self-help community or spiritual community that you can attract what you want, right? You could. And indeed, depending on your vibration, I don't know how much into you are aware of, but depending on your vibration, depending on your belief system, if you really believe it, if you're becoming the vibrational match to the thing that you're wanting, right? They tell you to envision it, to envision your desire, the thing you want to achieve, the money, the wealth, the whatever it is that your goal, new career, you know, typically they have you feel like you are already in that space, in that career, having that money, receiving that money. It's almost like the goal is for you to already feel it so you can become matched to that, right? And then vibrationally, that thing can meet you and come into your being or into your awareness or into your reality. What we don't fully see is that you're constantly attracting. So there's a lot of you, a lot of aspects, subconscious, unconscious aspects that are within your whole ecosystem that are already vibrating us at a specific frequency. So what does that mean? It means that you are only aware of yourself, or you only know yourself to the point you're only aware of yourself, if that makes sense. And if we apply the whole concept of childhood trauma, disassociation, fragmentation, that means there's aspects of us that we have disassociated from that are still a part of us, but they're tucked in, compartmentalized in vaults, so to speak. However, they're still a part of you. Just because you have disassociated from that aspect of you, that trauma, that pain, right? Because the pain typically is what we want to leave behind. And you chose to become the aspect of you that is able to cope with what happened, right? Here's what I like to tell people. Your personality and your character really is a combination, a collective of personalities that kept you safe throughout your childhood up to today. So your personality really is a collection of what you had to do to keep safe and survive and self-preserve. So what that means is if you have a lot of unconscious, subconscious aspects of yourself that are still unhealed, disassociated, compartmentalized, they're still vibrating at a specific frequency. So the only thing we really have control of shifting our vibration is what we're conscious of. And just because we're currently conscious of the personality, of the aspects of the consciousness that kept us alive, self-preserved, secure, safe, that is the only part that we can really alter frequency-wise, energy-wise. vibration-wise. That's the only part we really can shift. But imagine all the other fragmentations that are currently vibrating in a lower frequency. Because pain, trauma, typically is vibrating in fear-based, in pain, and in dense vibration. Those aspects are still vibrating and they're still creating frequency that it's emanating out of your body. So what does that then mean is those aspects that you want to run away from, like the plague, are creating, have become points of attraction. Therefore, they're equally manifesting. Yeah, those aspects are equally manifesting and attracting into your reality its core beliefs, its pain, its trauma. All parts of us. Consider we're a whole ecosystem. We are a whole ecosystem. And there's many aspects of us that are vibrating in different frequencies, right? And so if we consider and put into the equation trauma, right? As you're developing and you encounter trauma and so to self-preserve and survive, you will have to disassociate from the aspect, from the pain, from the part of you that you can't self-regulate, you can resolve, you can't integrate, so therefore it's a function, it's fragments and you disassociate it, so to keep moving forward, so to survive, right? Well, that part that stays behind, disassociated, compartmentalized in a vault, dark place, is still a part of you. Just because one no longer remembers that trauma, that pain, that experience at 2 years of age, doesn't mean it is not living inside of you. It's still living inside of you, having a specific frequency. And imagine, as you're growing up, you're disassociating, fragmenting, disassociating, splitting. All those splits, the ones you had to push far away because you couldn't integrate them, right? Process them. Imagine they're still stuck in your subconscious, unconscious mind, floating, creating momentum as each hour passes, as each day passes. Why? Why is it fueling or growing momentum as each day passes, each minute? Because they're yearning, since we're a living organism, we yearn balance. It is our nature to want to balance itself out. And part of the balancing is integration. And so, the further we're running from it, the more is gaining momentum to try to integrate. And the way that I will tend to do so, because that too is manifesting, not just your conscious aspect, the aspect of you that is aware, that wants to have a better career, that's aware, that wants to find the love of their life, that is aware, that wants to make a lot of money. You see, that is only one portion of you, one percentage of the whole ecosystem. And so if those fragmentations are floating out there in the darkness, right, in your subconscious, unconscious mind, and we're a living organism that we yearn to integrate so we can be sustainable and we can survive and thrive and multiply, then it will do whatever it takes, right? Those parts that are floating, it will do whatever it takes to get our attention so we can integrate them back into the collective so we can become whole, the rest of us. So why is this important to understand? Is that 90% of the time, say 90% of the time, those aspects that are fragmented, that are distorted, that are stuck in that time-space reality when you experience that trauma, they tend to attract first into your reality. They have a specific frequency in which they're sending out wavelengths to be attracting similar frequencies as the trauma. So if you're that person that's trying so hard to manifest a better career, the love of your life, love, money, and all you're met with is disappointment, betrayal, you feel like the universe is against you or God is against you or dangling a carrot, you're manifesting your traumas. You're manifesting your fragmentations. You're manifesting the very things you haven't resolved within you. And so they're repeating themselves like a pattern. Why? So you can address it. So you can no longer be stuck in that stream of consciousness, of pain, of disassociation, of disconnect. You see, we're not told the whole story. We're only told just think, become the energy of wealth. If you're only conscious of 20% of yourself, you're only 20% capable of attracting wealth, you see. Consider this perspective. Consider this way of viewing the law of mirroring, the law of attraction, the law of manifestation. It's like we need to become aware. And I say this with passion and conviction. More of us need to become aware of what's happening when it comes to manifesting. I've been dealing with a lot of clients that have been heartbroken because they feel like the universe or God is playing a sick game on them, dangling the carrot. Because they try to raise their vibration, they try to implement affirmations, yet they're met with the same disappointing energetic outcome. The feeling of disappointment doesn't go through, doesn't happen. They're close, but doesn't happen. And it's like, there's more to the story. And if you're only aware of yourself 20%, for simplicity's sake, 20% of yourself within the ecosystem, you're only able to attract or manifest or manipulate what you bring into your reality, that 20% that you're aware of. Because that's the only thing you have in control of, that you're consciously able to move through. But if you still have disassociated unconscious aspects, then you have other aspects that are vibrationally saying, I want something else. What they're saying, most likely, those fragmented aspects are really saying, I want love, I want acceptance, I want to come home. I need to be integrated. And so they will, those fragmented aspects, right, because they're a vibration within us, hold the ability even faster to attract. Their vibrational frequency is bigger than that 20% that you're aware of yourself. So if the rest, 80%, is pain and aspects of you that are stuck, distorted, confused, imagine that 80%, the power that it's going to be able to create. It's going to create from that space of consciousness that pain has, or that, those aspects that are distorted, and essentially it is pain that was unable to be resolved. Emotional pain. I think this is very important to take in consideration when you're trying to manifest. I know there's some people that are able to manifest. They're able to manifest things. But I experienced it. There comes a moment where you end up manifesting things, right? And then somehow it comes to a halt. It's like you hit a brick wall. Somehow it's like you can't seem to go through it. If that's the case, if you get there, come back to this video. Please, come back to this video. However, if you're the person that you realize that you're constantly manifesting the opposite of what you're wanting, or you manifest a little bit, but the end result ends up as a disappointing outcome, and you feel disillusioned by it, or you feel like the carrot is being dangled. It's like you attract 20% of what you're wanting, but then the rest of it ends up going to shit. If that's you, please listen clearly. Please rewatch this video and really understand how trauma works and how we disassociate from ourselves. That's why we can't remember our childhood, people. Family. We can't remember our childhood because a lot of it tends to be too much or too overwhelming. So we disassociate because we got to keep it moving, right? We got to feel like we can survive in our environment. That is what consciousness essentially is wired to try to self-preserve. Consciousness is wired to self-preserve. Okay? Ego in the body. Ego in the body. Okay? Because for me, my definition of ego is everything other than the spirit. That's my definition of ego. So if we've come into this human body with a mind/ego, because the mind, it represents the ego. It's going to try to self-preserve. You know, the mind is going to be like, we've got to survive this. We've got to survive it. Whatever it is that it's whatever it's encountering that can't seem to process. And we then try to self-regulate. And when we can't, we need to disassociate ourselves. So that part that represented the pain that we disassociated from is the part that gets compartmentalized in a vault. And we then embody the personality, the character, the identity that helped us survive that moment in time. Let me give you an example, just for clarity. Let's say I was sexually abused, and I was young, and I had a family member that would always come around, right? And I was sexually abused by this family member, and I was in pain. But I also realized I had to be around this person. And to survive the fact that I have to be around this person and I can't avoid this person, I need to forget about it. I need to disassociate from this thing and act like it never happened. Gaslight myself, in other words. So I don't have to feel the pain every time I see him. Every time we're in family functions. Every time he's in my home or whatever. As an example. Right? So to cope with the environment, I gaslight myself. I disassociate, gaslight myself. Everything's fine. It didn't happen. And then I become a person that is, and I embody that everything's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. You know, let me, you know, be happy. So I then embody that personality of trying to be happy. Or you embody the personality of anger. but you still disassociated. Moral of the story is you embody a trait, a characteristic that is going to help you substitute that pain, right? So you break off, you become the thing that's going to help you, make you feel more empowered, more, you can survive the circumstance, and that stays behind. But that aspect of you is still inside of you, you see, and of course, that aspect needs resolution so it can be integrated with the whole. Because you can't, energy, essentially that's energy. Consciousness is energy. Cannot be severed, destroyed, let go. No, it can't. It has to be transmuted, processed in the body, integrated. You see, so when you realize how trauma and self-preservation and disassociation and fragmentation works, you realize, wow, so you mean to tell me, Josie, that I can't remember my past, 99 of it, because most likely I was in distress. Yes. And you had to create a different narrative, a different story, gaslight yourself, say everything was peachy and fine. I had a loving family. My family was very loving. It's great. However, as you get older, your body's responding differently. Your body, your felt perception, your nervous system has a different story. And how does that different story manifest in real time? Well, all of this happened in childhood, and your body is telling you one story and your mind is telling you another. The mind is the one that's saying everything was great. I had loving parents, loving siblings, cousins, and so forth. Yet your body goes through anxiety whenever you go to family functions. Your stomach's creating knots. You feel nauseous when you're around your family. You feel unease, unsafe. You start feeling those uncomfortable emotions when you're with specific people in your family. Because your body remembers. Your body remembers and it imprints the emotional experience. Your body remembers the incident. While your mind is telling you nothing happened, everything's fine. Because that is the personality you decided to embody, is everything's fine. I'm happy. And you had to when you were 5 to survive the circumstance, right? Because if you were going to constantly be seeing this person and you knew that, and you thought no one was going to do anything about it, and you felt shame like it was your fault, then of course you're going to blame yourself and say, everything's fine, everything's fine. Well, fast forward, get older, and all of a sudden you're having all these random anxiety attacks, depression, you feel down and you don't know why. And when someone outside of you asks you, is everything fine? And then you go see help and they start asking you questions about your family, childhood. You're like, everything's fine. I had a great childhood. That is not the truth. That's you gaslighting yourself, having a split personality, so to speak. Your body telling you the truth because your body always tells you the truth. Just saying, people. Your body will always reveal the truth. If you want to know if you're really happy, your mind's going to tell you what's going to best serve you, or is going to tell you a victim, rightfully so, because if you had a lot of things happen to you, your mind's either going to tell you everything's fine, or it's going to tell you a really traumatic story that people are bad to you and that you have a very victim circumstance. Okay, so it goes either way, but regardless, your mind's going to tell you a story and the body's going to tell you another one. If you want to know which part of you is telling the truth, feel your body. Feel your body. Feel it. That is the aspect that is telling you the truth about something. About all the times you had to disconnect, disassociate to survive. The mind creates a narrative, the narrative that suits it because it thinks it's benefiting it. You see, the mind thinks it's benefiting you. It's protecting you. It's operating from a standpoint of thinking that it's protecting you. Always. Even though you say to me, but it's dysfunctional. My mind is telling me all these victim stories. Your mind wouldn't be doing that if it didn't think it was helping you. But that's not the full story. You see? So again, I want to repeat that if you're one of those people that only remembers happy childhood memories, yet you suffer anxiety, panic attacks, or discomfort, random nervousness and anxiety, there's a problem. Most likely, you suffered a distressed childhood, and you just disassociated so much so to only remember the happy memories, and you gaslit yourself to say that everything's fine so you can cope with what you were dealing with as a child. Especially if you were a sensitized being that felt deeply, or a conscious one, aware. That would most likely be happening to you if, you believe you had a positive childhood and everything is fine, yet your body is undergoing a completely different experience. Again, the aspect of you that's telling the truth in this case is your body. You just have sold yourself a different story so you can cope. That's very important to understand. And again, if that's you, those parts are the one that has more momentum. And most likely, you will be that person that attracts things into your reality that are validating your victimhood thought process, or that are validating uncomfortable, negative experiences. And, you think, oh, it's because of that my body's responding like this. It's because of that experience that didn't go my way. That's why my body's responding like that. And you continue to not think that it's your childhood. You see what I'm saying? You continue to blame the external circumstances. But in all actuality, it's you have aspects of you that you're just not conscious of, that are dwelling in the subconscious, unconscious mind. And when they're dwelling there, doesn't mean they are not vibrating or they don't have a consciousness of their own with specific frequencies. They do. And because you've been discarding them, ignoring them, rejecting them for so many years, if you're an adult, then those aspects become the point of attraction. Those are the ones that you have disassociated from and are attracting now into your external reality. And that's why you're wondering, why doesn't the law of attraction work for me, right? Sometimes. Depending on your situation. I'm just saying for that person that, and mind you, if this video resonates with you, wonderful. If you are that person that says, I'm a great manifester, I manifest things, wonderful. However, if you come to a point in your life where you can't manifest and you're confused because all of a sudden that manifestation momentum stopped and all you're attracting is things you don't want in your life, contact me. I can give you clarity, or watch this video. But if you're that person that has tried everything to manifest the things you desired or desire, that tried to manifest a better career, a better job, the love of their life, money. I mean, I say these common things because unfortunately we have placed a lot of value in these things, almost thinking that that is happiness. That is the ultimate happiness. When truly, I speak from experience, it is peace of mind. Really being able to not have that internal war happening, that tug of war happening inside of you so loud. I mean, you already made it. If you were that person that suffered internal wars to the point where you felt them like tug of wars, kind of like, I want this, but then I want that, but I don't know what to do. Oh my God, I don't know where to choose from. If that was kind of like your internal conversation, And so you can't seem to move forward because you're so stuck on, I want to choose the right thing, but I don't know if it's the right thing, but then I want this and then I want that. If that's you, and you've always felt so uncertain and so unsafe in your body, I'm going to tell you, the best achievement, success that you will ever attain will be that of peace of mind. And I speak from personal experience. Someone that has dealt with deep depression and has lost everything I learned to love in my past. Everything I learned to love from both of my parents. So essentially, to conclude this lengthy video, again, there's more to the law of attraction, manifestation, and as I like to call it, the law of mirroring. The law of mirroring I have replaced instead of saying the law of attraction, because through proof of my own personal life was literally my proof. And now seeing it through my clients, there's no shadow of a doubt of this specific math that I have been able to witness, thankfully, is that the more aware you become of who you are and the aspects of you chose to disassociate from, the more you know yourself, the quicker you will be able to manifest that which you prefer. Because that means you're trying to manifest from a more integrative state. That means you dove into yourself, discovered these aspects of you that you disassociated, trauma, these fragmentations, and you pieced yourself back together. As I like to call it, is literally, it's like having this candle. Let's say this specific candle, you drop it and it breaks into 5. That's trauma. And if you only are aware of the part that's standing and that part develops, what happened to the other fragments, to the other pieces? They stay behind. Well, guess what? Those aspects are consciousness and they carry vibration too. And if we're a living organism that yearns to self-sustain, to heal, to balance itself, and to, regenerate, we're going to have to piece ourselves back together. And so that requires for us to go back to our fragments. But if we were to, again, conceptualize it into, or feel into the information and correlate the law of mirroring into this example of, this falls, breaks into 5 pieces, and only one piece is able to evolve or grow into an adult, but you still have 4 pieces left behind. That means those 4 pieces are yearning to come home, to be integrated. So they'll do whatever it takes to get your attention. But because you've disassociated yourself from those pieces because it was so traumatic and you couldn't self-regulate, so you had to self-preserve, and you had to push those aspects away because you couldn't integrate yourself, right? Again, you couldn't find resolution. Then those 4 pieces are going to grow. Each year you grow, each year that passes, they're going to gain more momentum because their objective is to integrate and come home and be with a collective. And so those 4 parts are going to be amplifying in vibration. And if you know the law of attraction, the law of attraction is all about vibration. That's why they have you close your eyes and already feel like you already have the money. Feel like you're already in your car. Feel like you're already in your new house. Feel like if you've heard that concept, we're also going to be attracting the vibration of those fragments of those 4 pieces that were left behind in pain. So hopefully this provides clarity for those individuals who have tried so hard to manifest and are only met with disappointment and are disillusioned with the concept of law of attraction, or feel like they're wrong. Something must be wrong with me. I'm doing something bad. I'm bad. When in all actuality, there's nothing wrong with you. You just grew up according to plan, according to what you had to live in your childhood. But there's a way back home. There's a way to be integrated into wholeness again. It's time. It'll take time. I'm not going to say it's super easy. But when you begin to do so and integrate those 4 pieces, so to speak, let me tell you, the stuff you become a match to, the stuff you attract into your reality, mind-boggling, magical experiences. And so you gain the belief, the proof that this is real, that what I'm talking about is the case. And so you get excited to do inner child work, inner work. You get excited to go back and connect with you and connect with all those parts you decided to disconnect and not feel into. Because all those parts really just need to be felt into. They need to be acknowledged. They need to be felt into. They need acceptance. So hopefully this makes sense. Reach out to me if you have more questions. If you're the person that has tried so hard to attract things that you've wanted and get only halfway's the success, only get 50% of what you're wanting, and yet the ball drops. Somehow things don't happen, and you're like, why is this the constant pattern? Why is this the outcome that always seems to persist? Contact me. Which the persisting aspect that I just said, or part that I just said, reminds me of the saying, what you resist persists. Fact. What you resist persists. So if you've resisted certain experiences in childhood, rest assured they're going to show up. They might not show up in the exact same way you lived them in childhood, but energetically they'll show up similarly. Energetically, the feeling will be the same whenever you encounter that external experience. It'll be the same energetic feeling / vibration as the one you ran from when you were little. So hopefully this helped you, and with all the love and full acceptance, Josie.